wanna try me if you want, nigga. Yeah, try me if you want, nigga.
What's good? This is your boy Internal Sadist, and today's topic is going to be about I can get any man girls, and the whole entire concept that they can get any man girls for all intents and purposes. It's not even the fact that they can get any man girl. They're not. That's not the fact that they can get any man. It's more or less the fact. The problem with them is can they keep a man? And question is no. Typically, how it works is a lot of these women will say some stupid shit like this and they can't even keep a man around. They don't have the skills. Either they don't have the skills, either they don't have the mindset, or they don't have the social skills to actually keep a man around. They don't know how to actually keep a man around for the fact that they listen to other people on how to keep a man around when in fact they're not able to keep a man around. This is typically one of the conundrums that a lot of women run into when it comes to men at large for all intents and purposes. That's the sad reality of the day. But today's topics are going to be hosted by me, your favorite host in the whole entire damn world. Uh, is is this true? Why and how? The problems and my afterthoughts. The neat thing about women in this day and age is it's not the fact that they can get a man; it's the fact that they can't keep a man. They always talk about how many men they can get, but the question is that really a successful relationship, or is this just something that you're doing out of spite? It's typically how it works. And normally it's doing something. It's something they're doing out of spite for all intents and purposes. Because women can get a man, yeah. When any woman can get a man. The question is, can any woman keep a man? And not too many women have that type of skill, have the skills, or do they have the skill set, or do they have the knowledge how to do this? That's typically how this world works. Like it's funny how women always talk about they can get any man they want. Yeah, that's true. However, the question is, can you keep any man you want? The answer is no. It's sad, but it's true. The answer is just no. Because the cold reality is no matter how much, no matter what she's doing, she doesn't have the skill set and or the intellect to keep a man around. She doesn't have any of the life skills or any of the social interactions to keep a man around. All she has, all she has the skills is to just get a man. That's it. Does that mean it's going to be a great man? No. Because the sad part about that is they it's not the fact that they can get any man because they can't get any man because if they could they would be with the right man. It's that simple. So it's one of those things where if they can get any man, then why aren't you with the right man? And typically what happens with a lot of women like this is a lot of the men who see them, they see them as nothing more than a temporary thing to do. Nothing more than something to pass time until they move on to their next thing. It's simply how it works. So they can't keep a man for this reason because a lot of the good men or a lot of men basically see them as nothing more than a temporary girlfriend or something along the lines of that. So what ends up happening with a lot of these women is they end up very bitter because nobody wants to stick around with them, and they end up getting older and they end up having ridiculous standards, and they're not willing to meet their standards their damn selves. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, you need to make this much money. Do you make that much money? It's things like that, and it's like, well, he needs to have this kind of car. Do you have that kind of car? And it's like, it's one of those things where like you literally got to ask these women this type of shit because if they want all this stuff, they better be coming with all this stuff. And it's one of those things where it's like, if a woman's going to be demanding all this stuff, she better have all this stuff that she claims she wants in a man. For the fact that if she got all this, if she wants all this stuff, she better have all this stuff herself. It's that simple because typically how it works is there's a lot of women out there that don't know how to actually cook, clean, any basic skills that you could possibly need as a man. I mean, need to keep a man around basically. Because the sad part about that, well, he should be able to cook. Okay, well, he can cook. He's at work. You're starving. How about them apples? And typically, a lot of these women who say stupid shit like this typically order out at restaurants. They typically, work at a restaurant so they can bring home food so they don't have to worry about cooking the food. They typically do stuff like that, or to work at a bar that happen to be attached to a restaurant, and they'll basically eat out every day for all intents and purposes, which is pretty sad. If you got to eat out every day, that's more money that you're wasting on food when you could actually prepare the dish your fucking self. And that's typically one of the many things that a lot of women run into in this day and age. They typically spend all their money on outside of the house, and they wonder why they don't have the money to do what they want to do, or they don't have the money to do the things that they would love to do for all intents and purposes, for the fact that you're spending it before it even gets home, i.e., the restaurant, eating out every night, basically. So typically, what a lot of men can actually see these flaws in a lot of these women at the beginning. If you actually show up at their house and like they ain't got near dish in the oven looks brand new and shit like that. The oven and stove looks brand fucking new. Like only thing that look like has been used is probably the microwave or the toaster oven, if that. And the sad part about that is these same type of women usually have very little to nothing in their refrigerator, like they're bachelors and shit like that, which is actually pretty funny. Or they'll have like a pizza, or they'll have like something simple like that in their refrigerator. When in fact, if you'd have put a little bit of food in that refrigerator, you would have spent a little less you would spend a little less outside the house, eating outside your house, basically. And it's one of those things where like that type of thing ends up really hindering women's chances in a dating market and finding good men. They end up with all these fucked up men, and it's like the funniest thing in the world. It's like, well, I don't understand why you're not upset that I got into a bad relationship. Because I'm not upset because it's your relationship and you got into that bad relationship. Repeat that, run that back one more time. I understand why I got into a bad. You're not upset that I got into a bad relationship. Yeah, you got into a bad relationship, not me. You. And it's one of those things where like women don't like to take the fault for the dumb decisions that they make in life, which actually makes for another line of reasoning on why a lot of guys don't want to be in a relationship with them. Why would I want to be in a relationship with somebody who can't take responsibility for their own actions? Why do I got to take responsibility for your actions when in fact I wasn't even around for your actions to even remotely be a bad thing? And the sad part about this is typically when it comes to women like this, you'll run into a lot of women like this, and they'll basically believe like if the guy cheats on me, it's his fault. He should have waited for me. But if but in the same token, if she cheats on you, it's your fault because you weren't really fulfilling her in the bedroom. And the sad part about that is I always talk about this lovely thing when I talk about like the fact that statistics have shown if a man is satisfied in his relationship, it don't matter how many women are thrown at him, he's going to be content in his relationship and he's less likely to cheat than a woman. Here's where the disconnect actually happens in a lot of these relationships. Because the sad part about that is women try to use sex to control men. So therefore, if you're going to use sex to control men and you're not giving a man sex, typically what's going to happen with that is he's going to be faced with a conundrum of being unhappy in his relationship, and that's typically how it works. And women will say something simple like, "Well, sex isn't the most important thing in a relationship." Okay, yeah, that's why you stepped outside your relationship, though. Yeah, because it wasn't the most important thing in your relationship. Yeah, let that shit sink in. And that's typically the line of reasoning that a lot of women use when they use it. They try to make it a man's fault why they cheated. And the sad part about that is studies have shown if a man is satisfied in his relationship, he's less likely to cheat. It's just facts. Sad but true. But the sad part about that, even if a woman is fulfilled in her relationships, she's still more likely to cheat. Sad but true. And that's typically how a lot of this stuff ends up working. And the sad part about that is men are less likely to cheat in a relationship if they're fulfilled than women are. Even if a woman's fulfilled to their fullest, she's still more likely to cheat. It is what it is. It's the nature of the beast. And that's typically how this shit actually works. And knowing this stuff, women know this stuff going into this shit, but they always want to blame men for the whole entire relationship going south, when in fact they're the reason why the relationship actually went south. The minute you start pulling sex, he's not satisfied in the relationship, and I think this for the fact that it's one of those things where it's like, now I can blame him for cheating, and I can break up with him. Yeah, and that's typically how a woman's line of sight is. Well, if he can't wait for me, or if he can't he can't wait for me to want him, therefore, he's not worth my time, and this and the other. Okay, that sounds fine and dandy, but then you get a lot more resourceful men who would go get sex dolls. Now there's a problem. Now the power that you had over the man is a problem now, because now there's no problem, because now he's in a relationship, he's in a sexless marriage, and now he has owns a sex doll. Now what? You can't lure sex over him no more. And the funny thing about that, there's a shit ton of stories on Reddit. There's a shit ton of stories in the paper. There's a shit ton of stories in magazines where there's a bunch of women that are complaining that, you know, complaining that they when their man wanted sex, and when their man tried to initiate a sex, you know, they didn't want it, and this, that, and the other, and they basically turned them down and made up excuses for why they don't want to have sex. Meanwhile, they didn't really have these problems. They just made up these excuses so they won't have sex. So when a man remedies it with a sex doll and he's not cheating on you, now that's a problem now, because now you want sex, and he say some shit like, I just already jacked off in the shower, or I just wanted 2 rounds with the sex doll, basically, and this, that, and the other. And now there's a problem now, because now your ego shattered for the fact that now you're not desirable no more, and he's not cheating on you. So now winner chicken dinner. Now the man wins for the fact that now you don't overplayed your hand. And the sad part about it, when it comes to sex, this is the same. That's the same topic. This is the same topic that comes up every single time in a manosphere, when it goes back to the old TFM question. Outside of reproduction, what does a woman have to offer a man that he can't get from his friends, a dog, an escort, a sex doll, or a toy? I usually just say a toy altogether when I say sex doll, because technically a sex doll is a toy once you think about it. So what can a man what does a woman have to offer a man outside of reproduction? What does a woman have to offer a man in a relationship that he can't get from a friend, his friends, a dog, and some toys, or an escort? That's typically what that always comes back to. What do you have to offer? Sex, that's it? Okay. He can get that outside there. Companionship, okay. There's a dog. He can always hang out with his friends. Dog. Conversation, friends. Companionship, dog. Sex, escort, and or toys. That's pretty much how this shit works. And the sad part about that is women are starting to realize very quickly that they're becoming obsolete when it comes down to it, especially the ones who don't want to have children. They found out very quickly that they're very obsolete. Like you're basically like Betamax, basically. You're obsolete. Especially if you don't want to have any children. There's no point in having you around in a relationship if you don't want to have any children, because you're of no importance. And sex, he can pretty much get that anywhere for a lot cheaper than what he would be dating your dumbass, basically. And that's typically how this shit works. Like, a date will set you back, like what, like several dates just to have sex with a woman will set you back, what, like anywhere between 50, well, actually more than that anymore nowadays in America, anywhere between like 60 something, 60 $65 to about like $120 for a date. You can actually get an escort for cheaper than that. So it's one of those things. If you really want sex, you can actually get sex from an escort once a week if you really wanted it, and it would be cheaper than taking a woman out on a date hoping that you'll get sex. It is what it is, and that's typically how a lot of this shit actually works. And 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 the sad part about that is women don't really understand this, and they don't really seem to understand this concept that the only important thing that you have is reproduction. That's it. If you fuck up your reproductive years, a man's not going to want to have you, or want to have you around, or want to kick it with you for all intents purposes. And this is typically one of the many things that women say. And the sad part about that is yeah, it's true. It's true to an extent. Women can get any man, but the question is, can you get the right man? The answer is no. You can get any man that's willing to want to fuck you and leave you, or fuck you and fuck you over. Yeah, you can get any type of, you get all those men in a heartbeat. Yeah, that's easy. But the question is, can you get the right man that actually wants to be with you and actually wants to have a successful relationship with you? And typically the answer is pretty much no. That's the cold hard truth. That is the cold hard truth when it comes down to it. It's like, well, you could get any man, yeah, but can you get the right man out of that any man? So technically, in all technicality, you can't get any man. You can only get the men that, that just want to fuck you and fuck you over. It's pretty much all it really is. And it's just typically how a lot of women become baby mamas, basically, because they make a lot of dumb decisions. And this is typically how this shit works. Make a lot of dumb decisions, you end up in a lot of dumb messes, and it is what it is. So the question ends up becoming, can a woman actually get any man? The answer is no. Because if she could, she would be in the right relationship off the bat. And the sad part about that, even if you want you can have a bad boy that will actually do you right and actually be in a relationship with you. But the sad part about that, you can't even depict the difference between a bad boy and a bad boy that would actually do you right in a relationship. It's that simple. Women can't even predict that. Women can't even determine that by their damn selves, and that's the cold hard truth. Like a good example of that is good example of that is a good example of that is I was talking to one girl and she goes to me, "I don't want no bad boys. I'm not into no bad boys. But your baby daddy is in jail, right? You don't want no bad boys, but your baby daddy's in jail, which lets me know that you pretty much date bad boys. And from the sounds of it, the men after that, the men slowly for after that are bad boys, which typically ends up being one of those things where you typically always got to laugh at a woman for saying the dumb shit that they say out the side of their mouth. It's like, really, you don't want a bad boy? Your ex was a bad boy. Everybody you've had sex with was a bad boy for all intents and purposes. You don't want no bad boy, my ass. I'm not into that bad boy stuff. I don't date bad boys. Yes, you do. Yes, the fuck you do. Anytime you have baby daddies, anytime you're a single mother, you pretty much dated bad boys. That's all you dated for all intents and purposes. So you can't say you're not into bad boys when in fact you have a bunch of you have a bunch of children for all intents and purposes. And if the man's not around and if he's not dead because he got killed on the job, and I'm not talking about, he sold drugs and got killed on the job while selling drugs or something like that. No, I'm talking about he actually has a 9 to 5 job and he actually was killed on the job basically due to some freak accident, or he was in the military and he was killed due to some freak accident. Yeah, that's different than, that's different than him getting killed on the streets for selling drugs or him going to jail for, some stupid shit. You dated bad boys. And that's typically the shit that I always hear women say. And it's one of those things where psychologically, I know they're fucked up, and I know that's what they really want, and that's what they really desire. And it's typically one of those things that, dude, stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. It is what it is. Stop lying to yourself. This is what you want. This is what you desire. So this is where you're stuck at. So that means you can't get any man you want. You can only get the men that's willing to fuck you and fuck you over. That's it. Just because he likes you, he doesn't like you. He likes your pussy. That's typically how that works. He just likes being inside your pussy. And that's pretty much all it really is when it comes to a lot of these men. And the sad part about that, women mistake that because of sex. Women think that's because men love him. Or that's love because he's willing to have sex with her. Men are willing to have sex with anything and everything for all intents and purposes. And the sad part about that is the faster y'all figure this out as a species of women, the better off you'll be as human beings, as women. That's typically how this shit works. And man, because I've actually put this to test. I've actually said this to a man, like, man, get the fuck out of here. Your standards are fucking low. You'll fuck a cow. You'll fuck a cow if you get horny enough. And that's pretty much a true statement. That's true to life when it comes down to it. Because at the end of the day, it is what it is. If you're a man, you're willing to go as low as any fucking thing to fuck anything. You're willing to lie, cheat, steal, and kill just to get pussy. It is what it is. And that's the cold hard truth when it comes to men in this day and age, because a lot of these men are so desperate. Even these bad boy men are so fucking desperate. Like, because I look at it like this. People always talk about, oh, they got their pick of all the women and this, that, and the other. Okay, they got their pick of all these fucking women. Why the fuck are they dating 2s and 1s and 3s? Why are they banging 2s, 1s, and 3s then if they got their pick of all these women? They got their pick of a lot of bottom feeders too. And the sad part about that, for them to be these alpha males, why the fuck are you banging 1s and 2s? For you to be all these Chads and Tyrones, why the fuck are you banging these 2s and 3s any fucking way? Because the sad part about that, the funny thing I always found out about, something I always found funny about these Chads and quote unquote Tyrones and Pookies and Ray Rays is they got lower standards than me. So who the hell is really chatting Tyrone or Pookie and Ray Ray when you got lower standards than me? I'm not willing to hit any fucking thing. I got standards. The sad part about that, these motherfuckers got no standards, which lets me know that they're really not chatting Tyrone, which is a whole nother video that I'm going to bring it up in the first damn place in a later date and time. Like, you can't be chatting Tyrone or Pookie and Ray Ray when you're willing to hit anything. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, back to these women, when it comes down to it, they can't get any man. What's up, No Sweetheart? What's up, Baron Yam? What's up, MGTOWN to Win? Which I highly doubt you're still here because you tend to pop in and pop out very quickly anyway. So typically, women can't really get the men that any man they want, when in fact they're stuck with the men that they actually. And I mean, they can't get any man. They can get any man they want, but they can't get any man they need. It's typically one of those things. Because the sad part about that, even these men don't even stick around because either A, she can't cook, B, her parenting skills suck, C, she has no sex skills, D, and this is one of those things where women overinflate their ego with this whole entire WAP thing. I got that WAP, I got that WAP. Okay, if you got that WAP, then why the hell is he still cheating on you? If you're such a good woman, why did he cheat on you? And it's one of those things you literally got to bring to their attention, because you got to really ask these questions and not be a white knight. If you're such a good woman, then why did he leave you and why did he cheat on you? You literally got to ask women these questions, because if you don't, women tend to think that they're innocent, beautiful creatures, when in fact they're the ones who sabotage their own fucking relationship. And typically that's usually how it works. A lot of times, most of the times when a woman 9 times out of 10, when a woman is actually being cheated on, she had some doing. It was her own doing for all intents and purposes. 9 times out of 10, it's like a 1% of the time. If a man is cheating on a woman, he's just cheating on a woman. But the sad part about that is even she knows he's cheating on her. So yeah, it's one of those things where you knew he was for the streets. So why the fuck you trying to wife up? Why are you trying to husband up somebody that's for the streets? So it typically ends up being one of those things. And the sad part about that is women always get themselves into these messes on a regular basis, but then be trying to spin it or make it sound like it's the man's fault why they're in this predicament in the first place, or this is the reason why this shit is happening. And that's typically how this happens. And the sad part about that is that can be nothing further from the truth, because 9 times out of 10, one or two things happen in this relationship for him to be cheating on you or leaving you. One, you're starting to ration out the sex because you think you can keep around with the sex, and two, you basically knew he was for the streets, and it's the reason why you're getting skipped on in your own relationship. It's typically how this shit works, and it is what it is. Like, women can't accept that fact. Just like just like the whole entire erectile dysfunction topic. It's actually false that the sad part about erectile dysfunction, like I was saying, it's very rare. It's like there's like a small chunk of men, about 1% of men who actually can't get it up. There's like 1% of men who actually can't get it up. And that's actually fact. Like, there's like 1 or 2%, I'll say 2% maximum of men who actually can't get it up. They don't have an actual erectile dysfunction problem. The sad part about that, a vast majority of the men who actually have erectile dysfunction problems are just tired of the same old pussy over and over again. It is what it is. Eventually, you do get tired of the same old pussy. Eventually, you do get tired of the same old woman, especially if the woman's not doing anything to make herself appealing to her man. And the sad part about that, a lot of women are willing to do this, but the minute a man starts doing this shit, she wants to call foul or say all this other stuff and break up with the man. And that's the cold hard truth. Like, the minute a man starts laxing himself, all of a sudden now she wants to call him out his name or want to break up with him. But she's able to do that, and he can't say shit about it. And the sad part about that, the minute a woman starts laxing in her fucking looks, that's the minute her man stops getting sexually interested in her. And this is typically when the start of this whole entire erectile dysfunction actually happens, because he's not attracted to you. You're not attractive anymore. You're not even trying to be attractive anymore. And it's the cold hard truth. And it is what it is. You're not trying to be attractive anymore. Therefore, now you're not worth his time. Now he can't even get hard for you for the fact that You're just not cutting it anymore. Now he got to go to the doctors because it's his fault that he can't get an erection. No, when it's actually your fault he can't get an erection. Because the cold hard truth behind it is you're the reason why he can't get an erection. Now the sad part about that is when it comes to men, and it comes to men in relationships like that or with a dead bedroom, the sad part about that, if a cute tight thing walked past that man, or if any other woman walks past that man, he gets an erection in a heartbeat. This is typically how this shit works. And the sad part about this whole entire erectile dysfunction market is it's not meant for men. It's meant to actually it's meant for women's egos. That's all it really is. Because the sad part about that is it's not really meant to help a man because it doesn't help a man's underlying problems on why he's not getting an erection. It helps for a woman's ego so she can feel special that a man actually wants her. That's all it really is. It's basically a big old placebo effect for women. I'm special because he gets hard for me. When in fact he's just taking a little blue pill or the green pill, or depending on what color the pill is, depending on who's making it or spitting it out for all intents and purposes. It's typically how that works. And the sad part about that is women get this false sense of entitlement or ego because, a man gets hard for them. Meanwhile, he's taking a pill. Some men got pumps. Some men got buttons. It's that simple. And the sad part about that, all that is for your ego. It's not for his ego because it doesn't fix any underlying problems on why he can't get hard. And that's the cold hard truth when it comes down to it. And the sad reality of the day is a lot of women are slacking off on their jobs. This is typically why a lot of men don't want to be in relationships with a lot of women, and they want to have fun, and they want to basically run off and have fun and just run around and be bachelors and live the bachelor lifestyle basically. That's typically what it really is the fact that they're not willing to actually take the risk of being in a long-term relationship and you fucking up and fucking up their stock basically. And it's typically what it is to men. You're basically nothing more than stock. If you can't keep up your stock, or your stock is not rising, there's no point in keeping women around, or no reason to wife up a woman, because at the end of the day, even in a relationship, you're going to waste all that fucking money on bullshit that she's trying to keep up with the Joneses for any fucking way. So why keep a woman around that's not, her stock is not going to rise, it's just going to drop. Because the sad part about that, there's a lot of women out there that think because they got a man, they can keep a man. No, you just got a man. That don't mean you can actually keep a man. That's all it really is you got a man. You can't keep him now. Now the question is, can you keep that man? And the answer is always no. The sad part about that is even these side pieces can't even keep a man. Like a good example, they'll be with the main chick, they'll break up with the main chick, they'll go to the side chick and got another side chick, and now there's a side chick, and now you're the main chick, and you still can't even keep that fucking man. And it's the sad part about it because women start laxing. When women get too comfortable, they start laxing. They start laxing. They start laxing and shit like that, and they think that they got that man on lock when in fact they really don't got that man on lock because you fucked up. You really fucked up. You overplayed your hand, and now you end up ass out, cash out now because you thought you was the shit and you thought you had that WAP. Meanwhile, your WAP ain't shit. Basically, you got that DOP. It's pretty much what you got. You got that DOP or that no DOP, no WAP. Basically, and it is what it is. And the sad part about that, women aren't willing to admit to this stuff. And the sad part about that is this is what it is. This is why you're single. This is why you can't get into a relationship. This is why you suck at relationships in general. This is why all this shit is happening to you and you can't keep a man around. This is why men don't want to get married to you. Yeah, and it is what it is. What's up, Steve Price? And Steve is right. Hollywood proves daily. You can't even keep a man in a relationship. That means you're not doing your fucking job, your due diligence as a woman to keep a man in a relationship. You can get the man, but you can't keep the man. And that's typically how this shit actually works. And the sad part about that, all that extra shit that women were doing in the beginning, typically women stop doing that any fucking way, and they wonder why they don't have a man. They're not trying to be sexy anymore. But they want their man to stay sexy, but they can let loose. They can let loose, basically. And that's typically how a lot of this shit works. You start letting loose, and her man got to keep up his appearance, but you don't have to keep up your appearance, and that's typically why you end up single. And it's one of those things where it's like, now you're single, now you got children, and you're single, and nobody really wants you, and if they do want you, they just want you for sex. And that's typically how this shit works. And the sad part about that, the older you get, the more you realize that you're nothing more than a sex object. after a while. When you start hitting 30s, when you start hitting your 30s, you become a sex object. You become less of a desired desired thing, and you become more of a sex object at that point in time. You're nothing more than a sex toy in your 30s. That's pretty much how it is, because you're not going to be able to keep a successful relationship going anyway, because nobody wants to be with you. They just want to have fun with you. That's pretty much all you really is. You're nothing more than a sex doll. Because the sad part about that, women always complain about men buying sex dolls, but the sad part about that, if you're 35, 30, 35, 9 times out of 10, men see you as a sex doll anyway. So that's all you'll be, and that's all you will ever be, and you'll never be anything more than that but a sex doll. And the sad part about that, even women who get married at 35 and get divorced and remarried after 35 end up divorced again for the fact that you're nothing more than a sex doll. Because there's nothing else that you can offer this man besides sex. You can't cook, you can't clean, you don't do none of this shit, you don't do any of the regular shit, you can't have kids, so now you're a sex doll. That's pretty much all you really are. And the sad part about that, women can't accept that, and women don't always want to change. And the sad part about that, another good example of that is the women who let themselves go in a relationship. You're basically nothing more than a fucking living roommate at that point. Because 9 times out of 10, he probably still doesn't want to have sex with you because you're not desirable anymore. So now you're a living roommate with a man. If you're in a relationship with a man and you gain weight, or you start letting loose basically, or you start changing up your habits and you start being a stank motherfucker basically, you're nothing more than a living roommate. It is what it is. But women don't want to accept this, and women can't seem to get why men don't want to be in a relationship with them, or men don't see them as desirable. And it's the cold hard truth is you're not desirable. You're really not desirable in the least bit. And this is typically how a lot of this shit works. And the sad part about that, it don't matter how much the WAP is, how much the other shit is, and it doesn't matter, what your WAP looks like. If it's not WAP if you can't keep a man around. WAP don't mean shit if you can't keep a man around. WAP don't mean shit if he's cheating on you. WAP don't mean shit if he's having kids with another woman. WAP don't mean shit, in other words, is what I'm trying to say. And that's the cold hard truth. And especially with all these women that claim, I don't want no bad boys. I'm not into bad boys. Yes, you are. Yes, the fuck you are. And it's simply what it is. Because the sad part about that, when it comes down to it, typically the reason why I'm always picked up and I can never remain single for a long period of time is because I am a bad boy. I really am a bad boy. And it's one of those things where, like, I'm not the bad boy that'll pretty much, that'll pump and dump you. I'm the bad boy I'm pretty much, the best way to describe it, I always say, I'm basically a low level cartel member. I'm a hitman I'm a Sicario with a degree, basically, is what it comes down to. And it's one of those things where it's like, I ain't got no problem with pulling a gun and shooting somebody in the face. I ain't got no problem with pulling a gun and putting it in somebody's fucking mouth. And it's one of those things that people know this about me, and it scares a lot of people around me for this reason. So if I ain't got no problem with doing this, what the fuck do you think I'll do to you? If you're held hostage and my whole entire family's held hostage, if I ain't got no problem with shooting everybody in the room, what the fuck do you think I'll do to you? And it's one of those things that people don't seem to get or understand about me. At the end of the day, that's the type of human being I am. I've actually made peace with myself and my inner demons. And the sad part about that is I know who I am. I'm willing to accept that about myself. The question is, are you willing to accept your shortcomings or your flaws about yourself? It is what it is. So at the end of the day, what you can and cannot do is try to categorize men in a certain way and then find out later that this man is probably more savage than you and more savage than any man you ever dated. And it's simply how it works. And it's like one of those things where, like, I was talking to this woman and she goes, we're going to be friends even if I get into a relationship. No, we're not. No, we're not. And this is typically one of the other reasons why women always get themselves into the predicaments that they can't get themselves into, because don't a man want to be around a woman who's in a relationship with a man that she could possibly cheat on him with. It is what it is. Because I keep telling this woman, we are not going to be friends. I kept telling this woman, we're not going to be friends if you get into a relationship. Because your man is not going to want you being friends with me. Hell, I wouldn't even want you being friends with me if I was your man. I'm just keeping it 100. And that's typically how it works. Like, I'm not intimidated by any man, but I'm intimidated by a man like me. It is what it is. I wouldn't even want you being friends with me. Hell, there's been times when I've been in relationships with women and I forgot that I actually bought that woman some shit, and I'm cutting her. Where the fuck you get this dress at? You got it for me. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And it's shit like that. Like I get jealous of my fucking self. And it's shit like that. Like, look, no. Because I know you're man, you're man. I don't give a damn who your man is. He's not gonna let you be friends with me for the fact that he's always gonna be jealous of me. And I'm not even an alpha male, I'm a sigma male. He's always gonna be jealous of me and who I am and my presence for all intents and purposes. My presence is always going to threaten this man. And that's pretty much how this works. And it's the nature of the beast. Like you can't sit up here and tell me that we're going to be friends when in fact I know, you know, and everybody knows your man's going to be threatened by my presence. Hell, everybody in the bar is threatened by my presence. What makes you think your man's not going to be threatened by my presence? The sad part about that is anytime I show up at a bar or a setting, no matter who the fuck's in the bar, everybody is threatened by my presence. It is what it is. Everybody knows that I will fuck everybody up in that bar and won't have a problem with dusting them off, setting their punk ass back in the chair next to me, and buying them a drink. It is what it is. Like, I don't care. Your life means nothing to me. Anybody's life means nothing. Nobody's life means anything to me. Your life can be your life can be forfeited at any given fucking time when it comes to me. This is typically why I'm a very dangerous person, because I ain't got no problem with forfeiting people's lives for them. It is what it is. And this is typically one of the many reasons why people don't really fuck with me, or people don't really try to fuck with me too much, because the fact of the matter is, dude, I'll show up outside your house. Dude, I'll post up on your mailbox like I'm the mailman. Like, don't play with me. I'm not that dude. And this is typically one of those many things why women can't seem to keep men around, for the fact that when it comes down to it, there's no way in hell you can sit up here and tell me that we're going to be friends if you're in a relationship, when in fact I know your man's going to be jealous of me and be uncomfortable with me being your friend. That's typically how this shit actually works. Because it is what it is. At the end of the day, ain't no man in his right mind finna let you be friends with me. Hell, there's men in the manosphere, if they were dating, they wouldn't even let you be friends with me. So, yeah, all these alpha males, all these other guys that call themselves alpha males, bulldog mindset, none of these niggas will let you be friends with me in the least bit, because I'm that dangerous. Nigga, I'm more dangerous than they will ever be. I'm more dangerous than all of them. All these alpha male guys, all these other guys, all these bulldog mindset guys, all these pickup artists, everybody under the fucking sun is not willing to let a woman be friends with me for the fact that I'm not threatening to that person. And it is what it is. It don't matter how much game you got. The question is what's your gun pull up game, or what's your knife pull up game, or what's your roll up game like, basically, when it comes to me. I don't give a fuck about game. I don't need game. I've never needed game to save. I never needed game to get a woman in my life, dude. I just basically show up and I'm basically just fucking there. I never need a game to get a girl. It is what it is. I just do me all the fucking time and do me to the best of me. It is what it is. And this is typically one of the many reasons why women tend to get themselves into predicaments, or the conundrums that they get themselves into when it comes down to it, when it comes to relationships, because ain't no man willing to be okay with a male friend, especially if that male friend is threatening. That's typically how this shit works. Because, like I said, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who you is. I'm jealous of me in a relationship. Shit. Like I bought my significant other flowers before, and then I get mad and I forgot that I bought the fucking flowers. I read the flowers. Who the fuck is Tico? Fuck that Tico nigga. Like, that's you, nigga. Oh, well, fuck him. Like, legit, I get mad at my fucking self. Like, I get very jealous of my fucking self. So I can't see myself. I can't see you being in a relationship with a guy and him not being uncomfortable with me being your friend. It doesn't work like that. And this is typically another area where a lot of women fuck up at, and this is the reason why they can't keep men. Because, look, if you're going to have a friend that you fucked and he's going to be your friend, he can't be your friend no more if you're in a new relationship. Because the fact of the matter is, you fucked him. You were in a sexual relationship with him. Therefore, now that guy's a threat to your next relationship. Oh, well, he's just a friend. Yeah, he's just a friend that you fucked. And that's typically how this shit actually works. Like, you can't sit up here and be talking about, well, he's just a friend, when in fact you fucked the guy. No, he's a friend that you fucked. You got to get rid of him now. And if you're not willing to get rid of your friend, this is why your ass is single. End of story. And that's pretty much how this works. Because women will try to use every fucking excuse to keep a person around in their life that they've been fucking with or fucking around with, or they've been like fucking with kind of hard or flirting with kind of hard. And it is what it is. Like, women do this shit on a regular basis, trying to pretend like, well, oh yeah, this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other. Well, no. Get rid of the motherfucker or end this fucking relationship. That's pretty much how this shit is working. And women don't want to do that, and they want to pick and choose, and, well, I want to choose my friend and have you around too. No. Bye. And the sad part about that, not too many men in this world are willing to just walk away when a woman says, well, I want both of you around. Well, no, you can't have both of us around. Because if you're friends with that person, you fucking that person, you're fucking that person still. And that's simply how this shit works. Anytime a woman is friends with a man that they're fucking, they're still fucking that man. Or they still want to fuck that man. It's pretty much facts. So at the end of the day, she's fucking that man, or she's fucking that friend, or she's fucking that person that she's keeping around. It is what it is. Like, oh, he's my brother. He's not your brother. If that's your brother, that's some serious incest going on right there. And it's one of those things where women always try to pull this shit to make it sound like the person's appeasable or feasible, when in fact this person's not even worth the fucking time or the shirt off your fucking back, basically. And you want to make it sound like he's the greatest person in the fucking world when he's really not. Like, dude, you're basically trying to sacrifice your relationship for no fucking reason. Yeah, I'm a nut. But that's the cold hard truth. Like, you're sacrificing your relationship. You're sacrificing your relationship for a friendship that's going to fuck up your relationship. And that's typically how women do. And the sad part about that is which leads me into which segues into another topic that why women can't keep men in a relationship, and why they can't get and keep the men that they want in their lives, is the fact that their fucking friends fuck up their relationships. Like I said in another live stream, if your mom and dad or your best friends have any say so in our relationship, they motherfuckers better be willing to pay some fucking bills or suck my fucking dick. It's that simple. If your mom and dad got anything to say about a relationship bad, they better be willing to suck my fucking dick or pay some fucking bills. It's that fucking simple. And the same thing goes for your fucking friend. She better be willing to come in here, pay some fucking bills, and get her back blown the fuck out. It's that fucking simple. Because I look at it like this. If them motherfuckers got this big of a say-so in a relationship, them motherfuckers better be paying some fucking bills, or I better be bending your mom over the fucking bed later, or the fucking counter, or the fucking couch, or anywhere in her fucking house in front of her husband. I better have access to that pussy. That's all I got to say when it comes to women's friends and their mom. If your mom got something to say negative about this relationship, she better be pulling down her pants and giving me access to her pussy. That's all I got to fucking say. I don't give a fuck how you feel about that. Fuck that shit. Fuck you. Fuck her face. Fuck her day. And fuck your dad. Fuck your friend. Fuck your gay friend. Fuck all of them. If they not willing to break bread on these bills, then they ain't got shit to say about my fucking household or how it's ran or our relationship. If they not breaking bread on these bills, if they not paying no bills and they not giving me no sex or they not giving me no head, fuck out my face with that bullshit. And that's basically how I feel about any type of relationship. Because at the end of the day, I'm not fin to do no stupid shit for no stupid shit. Oh, your friend has a problem with this? How about you? Because I've been known to say some shit like that to a woman I'm in a relationship with. Oh, so your friend think we have a bad relationship? How about you tell your friend to come over and suck my dick and pay these bills? What, Tico? What do you mean? Yeah, tell that bitch to come over here and suck my fucking dick and pay these fucking bills. What do you mean? She got a problem with her relationship. Tell her to come over and suck my dick and pay these bills. Well, I think that's a bit extreme. Well, I think it's a bit extreme that you're listening to that dumb bitch in the first place. And that's basically how I am in a relationship. Well, she got a problem with me. Tell her to come suck my dick and pay some of these fucking bills. And then we could talk about having problems in a relationship. And women look at me like, I can't believe you just said that. Well, I can't believe you listened to that dumb bitch that's not in a relationship. Well, she's my friend. Okay, well, your friend is also single. And she's going to land your ass fucking single. Why are you talking to me like this? Why are you taking dumb advice from your fucking friend? And the sad part about that is I'm very relentless when it comes to shit like this. And if you're going to ask me a dumb question, you're going to get a serious answer that you're going to have to either answer or you're going to have to dance around. And that's typically how this shit works. I'm not willing to back down from no fucking argument, some bullshit ass argument, especially. And the sad part about that, I'm not willing to sacrifice shit. I'm not willing to do anything that has nothing to do with me, or if I'm not having sex with it, I don't want to hear its fucking mouth. Basically, if it's not paying none of these fucking bills, I don't want to hear its fucking mouth. I don't give a fuck what it is. Your mom, your dad, your friends. I don't want to hear none of them bastards. I don't want to hear nothing out none of them bastards' mouths. It's that simple. And it is what it is. And it's typically one of those things when it comes down to it, you end up in a fucked up relationship for this very reason, for no fucking reason whatsoever. Like, you're sabotaging your own relationship, lady, by listening to dumbass motherfuckers who aren't in a relationship in the first place. Why are we doing this? Why are we having this argument? Why are we even here? Why is this even a fucking thing? It is what it is. So what you can't sit up here and tell me is that you have a great relationship when you're fucking your relationship in the first place. Oh, Joe Montana, I got your message in emails this morning. I'm about to answer it, but I had to do a video real quick. I had to do a couple of videos real quick and edit some stuff. So I'm gonna send that message back to you, definitely. But yes, it's typically one of those things when it comes down to it. When it comes down to it, you typically you typically are the reason why your relationship is fucked up in the first place. Either you chose the wrong person, or you sabotage your relationship by doing various things to fuck up your relationship. Is typically how this shit works. And the sad part about that, a lot of women fuck up their relationships. It's true. A lot of women fuck up their relationships. And there's no other way around it besides the fact that you can't sit up here and fuck up your relationship and expect everything to be okay. Or you can't sit up here and fuck up your relationship and expect things to be PG-13, basically. It's typically how this shit works. And the sad part about that is a lot of women do this shit on a regular basis and wonder how and why they're in half the predicaments that they're in the first damn place. And it's true. Like, you can't sit up here and tell me that, well, this, and this, Tico, and this, and this, Tico. Well, no. You fucked up your own relationship. You got to fix your own relationship. It's not my job to fix your relationship for you. It's not anybody's job to fix your relationship for you, for that matter. So therefore, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, basically. It's typically how this shit works. So it's one of those things where, like, women always want to try to pull the extra bullshit to make it sound like, that they're not the reasoning behind their relationships being fucked up, when in fact they're the reason why the relationship is being fucked up in the first place. It's either you chose the wrong fucking person, or you're sabotaging your relationship. Like, the choice is yours. You can't really get it any other way, or any other way, shape, or form. Either you fucked up your relationship, or anything else. So, and the sad part about that is, how can women actually do better? Stop listening to your dumbass friends who are single. They have no relationship advice for you whatsoever. I don't believe that somebody who's single has any good relationship advice. Only relationship advice that they got for you is how to be single. That's it. If that's what you want to listen to, you can go listen to that and be single. That's typically how the shit works. And like I said, if your friend got any say so in our relationship, that bitch better be willing to open her pussy and lay down. It's that simple. That's technically how I feel about moms or dads or friends or anybody like that have a problem with our relationship. If nothing's wrong with our relationship, they have a problem with our relationship, they better be coming in willing to pay some bills or suck my dick. because I'm not playing this game no more with women. I don't play these games with women. If your family has a problem with our relationship, they better be willing to pay some fucking bills or suck my fucking dick. Or your mom better be willing to spread her pussy lips and get fucked over something. That's all I got to say about that shit. So women fuck up their own relationships at the end of the day by doing stupid shit like this on a regular basis. It's typically how the shit works. And the sad part about that, it is what it is. You're not going to sit up here and tell me that your friends said our relationship this, that, and the other. Okay, is your friends paying any of these bills? Your paying your phone bill? Your friend not breaking no bread in his house? Well, I'm gonna need that bitch to shut the fuck up. Oh, your mom got some problem in her relationship? Well, tell her to come over here and get dick down too. We'll talk about this over a dicking down. And that's pretty much how I feel about a lot of this shit. Because the sad part about that is men just let women just run wild all over the fucking place like they ain't got no fucking stints. Men just let women just run wild all over the fucking place. Literally. And the sad part about that is men lost their bravado and men lost their way of life. Because the sad part about that is I don't hold grudges, but I will stick a gun in your mouth. I don't hold grudges. If you're like a good example of that, because like I remember I was in an argument with a man about his woman, and I literally fucked that man up and try to snuff his life out. If it wasn't for his girlfriend, my friend, his ass would be dead right now. It is what it is. Because I ain't got no problem with putting you in your place as a man. I don't give a fuck who you is. I'm just a friend. I will fuck you up. Your life means nothing to me. I'm her boyfriend. You'll kill her boyfriend? Oh yes. Nigga, I would kill my own kids if they got out of line. Nigga, you ain't shit. I would kill my own relatives if they got out of line with me. You ain't shit, nigga. Your life ain't shit. Try me, nigga. Try me. And that's literally what it is. And the sad part about that is people don't seem to understand that about me, and they think I'm joking up until there's a gun in their fucking ear. It is what it is. So it's one of those things where it is what it is. And it's one of those things where it's like, don't fuck with me if you're not willing to be fucked with. If you don't got the capabilities to be fucked with or to lose what you got, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me. It's that simple. Because it ain't nothing for me to roll up on your house or just, send an RPG rocket through your front door. Or throw a Molotov cocktail through your mama's house. Nigga, I don't care. Life means nothing to me. It is what it is. And it's shit like this that when women say the dumb shit, they get themselves into this mess and they wonder why they're always in these messes. You're in these messes because you're a dumb bitch and you listen to dumb people. It's facts. That's the reason why you're in this mess. And you choose stupidly. It is what it is. That's why you're in this fucking mess. This is typically how this works. So don't tempt me, don't startle me, or don't upset me because all hell will break loose if you do any of the above. And it's one of those things where it's like men got to start getting their balls back. Basically, you don't need to buy no extra program. Just put your foot down every now and again. Motherfuckers start paying attention. Like, oh shit, this nigga's serious. It is what it is. Like you ain't got to buy no program to make you an alpha male. You ain't got no buy no program to be a dating coach or being in a relationship. You ain't got to buy none of that shit. Just put your foot down every now and again, and a motherfucker will take you serious. Like, nah, nigga, that's not happening. And be willing to go to distance. Commit and own that shit. Don't be out there doing no bullshit, basically. Commit and own that shit. It's one of those things. So it's like, you can't be out here talking shit or, having somebody throw shade on your fucking relationship and still think that that person's being respectful to your relationship. Because if your best friend's throwing shade on your fucking relationship, she's disrespectful to your relationship. If your mom's throwing shade on your relationship, she's being disrespectful to your relationship. Because the funny thing about that whole entire thing is women don't like it when the mother of the men do it to their relationship. So why is it okay for your friends and your mother and your father to do it to our relationship? And this is what fucks up a lot of women, or it's like this whole entire double standards thing when it comes to relationships. This is how this shit happens. This is how double standards happen in relationships for this reason. And it is what it is. Guess mom cutties. True story. Shit. Mom got a problem with a relationship. She need to come in here and start sucking my dick. It's that simple. It's that fucking simple. Your mom got a problem with this relationship. She need to come here and suck my dick. Grandmama could do it. Grandmama could get it too. She got a problem with this relationship. She can get her black blown out too. Hell, I even give her a heart attack by the time I finish with her. It is what it is, and that's exactly how I feel about it. If they're not in this relationship and they got a problem with this relationship, they better be willing to get on their knees and suck my dick, or get their back blown out, or pay some bills. It's that simple. Hell, I don't care. If you tell me a dead relative got a problem with our relationship, I'll dig that bitch up and skull fuck the fuck out of her ass. How you feel about our relationship now, bitch? And that's exactly what I'll do. I'll dig that body up and I'll skull fuck the hell out of that bitch. I don't give a fuck. I ain't got no shame. I can't be embarrassed. I don't give a fuck. It's like shit. Real shit. I mean, and it's basically how I feel about this. It's basically how I feel about it. It's like you can't fuck up your relationship and expect everything to be okay. You can't fuck up your relationships or have people fucking your relationship around it and expect you to still be in a relationship or keep a man around. You can't do stupid shit like have male friends around that you fuck, basically. And you say, oh, no, he cool. We just friends. No, we not cool. We not cool. You can't have friends around like me because I'm be jealous of me. Hell, if you tell me that I'm friends with Tico, I'll be pissed at you. Be like, nigga, you Tico. Okay, you better let me know next time because I'll fuck that nigga up. Like, like shit. Because I get jealous of my fucking self. Shit. Real shit. Like, nah, nigga. Nah. Like, no. Because I look at it like this. I'm not threatened by too many people, but I typically know when a relationship's going to end very quickly or go sideways. And I typically end it before that. And that's typically how this shit works. And the sad part about that, you got all these women out here acting a straight fool, pretending like none of this shit is going on, or pretending like everything's honky dory, or PC, when in fact it's really not. You're not having a PC relationship when you're fucking with the person that you used to have sex with, and you want to call them your friends. Really, really, really. And it's shit like this to how it works, basically. And it's like, yeah, whatever. Bye, ho. That's what you're gonna do, bye ho. And that's exactly how I feel about this shit. Like, no, don't be out here doing no extra shit. I'm not with that extra shit. But like, yeah, this is typically why women fuck up their relationships. And this is why they always end up in the predicaments that they end up in. There ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it. It is what it is. But yeah, it's like one of those many things where you have to learn as a human being how to deal with your relationships, or how to be a man in a relationship, basically, or what you're willing to accept and what you're really not to accept. And the sad part about that is, if you're not willing to accept something in a relationship, speak the fuck up. Speak the fuck up as a man. If you're not willing to accept certain things in a relationship, speak the fuck up. If she has a problem with that, tell her to step. Gets to stepping, like Martin. Gets to stepping. It is what it is. Because the sad part about that is men have gotten so fucking soft, and they've been trying to appease pussy so fucking long that they're willing to accept any bad behavior from a woman. When in fact, pussy is not all that important. You can get that anywhere, and you keep it around for a lot cheaper. Like I said at the beginning of this thing, having an escort is cheaper than having a girlfriend. Like, think about that. Having an escort is cheaper than having a girlfriend around to date, for all intents and purposes, because she costs a shit ton of fucking money. She's going to cost you more than having an like a good example, if you got an escort once a week, she's cheaper than having a girlfriend for about a year. Hell, an escort once a week is cheaper than having a wife. Hell, people always talk about sex dolls. I'm not a fan of them. I'm not championing them. But even the most expensive sex dolls are cheaper than having a wife. Most all these most expensive the most expensive sex dolls are actually cheaper than having a fucking wedding and buying a wedding ring. So at the end of the day, you're going to spend more money in a relationship than you're ever going to spend on a sex doll. You're going to spend more money on that fucking house that she wants that you really don't care too much about. And it is what it is. Hell, that new car that she wants because she wants to keep it with her neighbor because her neighbor, she's jealous of her neighbor, is going to cost more than a sex doll. Like I said, I don't promote sex dolls, but at the end of the day, if you're going to do a cost or risk assessment analysis, there you go right there. Why spend 30 something thousand to 100 something thousand on a new car for a woman because you think she loves you? She don't love you. She loves what you can do for her, or she loves what you can get her. It's that simple. Because I remember the one time this one dude was actually trying to clown in a trying to clown in the one comment section, talk about why sex dolls are expensive. Why would you spend $2,000 on a sex doll? Okay, why would you spend 3 months pay on a fucking wedding ring? Same fucking cost, if not a little more cost, basically for that ring. Why would you do that? Offer her to break up with you later, and offer you to pay for a wedding that's going to set you back anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000, all for some big ass party for you to be divorced later. Now you done paid what, like 3,000, 4,000 for a fucking ring. Lord knows what the fucking the engagement ring cost you. But you done probably paid a shit ton for that engagement ring. Now you done paid a shit ton for that wedding ring, and now you're paying a shit ton for this wedding. Those prices alone could have got you a harem of sex dolls. It's sad, it's crude, but it's true. Because a wedding alone will set you back anywhere between $10,000 to like $30,000. That's a fucking car. That's a fucking down payment on a fucking house. Why does a wedding cost that fucking much? And if you tack on the fucking rings that you bought, they're leading up to this shit, it ends up being more than the down payment on a car. You could have bought a fucking car at that rate. Hell, you could have bought 2 fucking cars at that rate. Like, think about this shit. Like, no. Because the sad part about that, a wedding is not for a man. It's for a woman that feels special. It is what it is. A wedding is nothing more than for a woman to feel special. A man to fork out all this fucking cash and a woman to feel special like she's loved. Because the sad part about that, when it comes to love, when it comes to women, it's all about what they could do for you monetarily when it comes to men. She loves you as long as the money keeps flowing. She loves you as long as you keep showing up. She loves you as long as you're there and in person. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to women, out of sight, out of mind. That's typically how women operate. Out of sight, out of mind. It is what it is. The faster men figure this shit out, the better off men would be and be able to navigate relationships a lot better. When it comes to a woman, it's out of sight, out of mind. If you don't show up, she ain't finna text you or call you. It's facts. If you don't text her first, she ain't finna do that shit. And the sad part about that, anytime a woman texts you first, there's usually a line of reasoning behind why she's texting you. It's her own personal selfish gain on why she's texting you. That's pretty much how that fucking works. It's out of her own personal gain. That's it. So if she's texting you first out of nowhere, it's for her own personal gain. It is what it is. Like a good example is I have a friend that goes to this bar basically, and apparently they bought his favorite alcohol. So one of the bartenders texted him to let him know that, they got his favorite alcohol. What that actually means is now they want my friend to show up at the bar and drink that day on a day he normally doesn't drink. All because they got his favorite alcohol. All they want is for him to spend his money. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. That's all it ever was, and that's all it would ever be. They just wanted him to come and spend his money. Because that's what you're doing for them monetarily. And the sad part about that is that guy tips better than me. That guy tips way better than me. Like, I tip good, but he tips better. And the sad part about that is you're not going to call up somebody that's not me or him to come to a bar and drink if you're not finna get tips like that. That's typically how the shit works. You're always going to call up the big spenders, basically. And it's true. It's true. You're always going to call up the big spenders to come to the bar and spend this money so you can walk out with better tips. That's typically how the shit works. So if a woman's calling you and she's worked, this is typically why I say never date a woman in service industry, because she's only there for her own personal gain. Because the sad part about that is you got to be her boyfriend and you got to be her patron. That's simply how the shit works. You got to be her boyfriend and you got to be her patron. And if you're at the bar, you're her patron. You're not her boyfriend. So you got to spend this bread so you can get some tips. Like, I'm your boyfriend. Why I got to tip you? Here's a tip. Don't call me ever again. Like, it's just simple shit like that. Well, damn. Well, damn. McDonald went facts. Say it again. Speak up. True story. Well, darn. True. Stop dropping facts. You're dropping too many facts, Tico. and it is what it is when it comes to stuff like this. It's like you as a man got to be willing. You and a man got to actually draw the line on what you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with in a relationship. This is typically why women can't keep men around, because these men actually draw the line on what they're willing to deal with and what they're not willing to deal with at the end of the day. Like I said, women only care about what you can do for them monetarily. It is what it is. That's simply why I always say don't date bartenders, waitresses, any of those people that work in the service industry, because you're going to have to play two roles. You're going to have to be the doting fucking customer or the doting patron, or you're going to have to be the boyfriend. Like, so you got to pay this bitch at work, and you got to be the boyfriend at home. Why? 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 No. And it's that simple. It's like, come on now, no. I'm not willing to do that shit. I'm not finna do all this shit, because fuck that shit. And that's the cold hard truth. That is the cold hard truth. Why? And why am I here? What is my purpose? Oh, so give you money? Gotcha. Bye, bitch. It is what it is. Like, no, you don't have to break bread with anybody. You don't have to share your money with everybody. I'm not at the bar making it rain on everybody. I'm at the bar making it rain on my fucking self. If you don't like it, fuck off. And if I do buy somebody a drink, it's because I like that person or I respect that person. I'm not buying no ain't shit nigga no drink. I don't give a fuck how popular you are. I don't care who the fuck you are. I'm still going to spend more money than you. Respect my fucking hustle and get the fuck out of my face, you little broke nigga. And that's certainly how I feel. Because the sad part about that is I always get these little goofy ass niggas that at the bar with me that be talking shit and be sitting there trying to front on me and shit like that, like they doing big things. Motherfucker, I buy Johnny Walker Blue. My shot is going to set me back anywhere between $36 to $50 a shot. 2 shots, I'm already spending more than your punk ass. Get the fuck out of my face with your punk ass reasoning. And that's typically how I feel. Like, no, nigga, you ain't spending shit in here. I'm spending everything. You're spending nothing. And the sad part about that, even with those shots, I'm still dropping more money than you, because I'm willing to buy like this one old head, that I grew up with that taught me some shit. I buy him some drinks and his woman some drinks, because they've been together for a while, and I'm very proud that they've been together for a while. They've been together for fucking like shit. Them niggas been together for about like shit. They've been together for like 30 years, and they not even fucking married, and they've been together for 30 fucking years. Like, let that shit sink in. They a couple. They ain't have to walk down the fucking aisle to do it. They a motherfucking couple. They've been together for 30 fucking years. Not even a ring or nothing. They know they're a couple, and they know they love each other. I respect people like that, and I respect my elders like that do that shit. 30 fucking years. Not a peep, not a cheat, not anything. Not married, not nothing. They just been together for 30 fucking years. They technically married beyond married. It's going to take a court a lifetime to divorce the motherfuckers, basically. But yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, he said, I still got to buy you a drink. That'll never happen, Lynn. We're always too fucking busy when it happens. And even when we do get time to hang out together, we always end up not even going to a fucking bar. We end up like cutting up on people and talking shit on people. So I know that's never going to happen for all intents and purposes. So it's always one of those things. But yeah, it's like it's one of those things where like, dude, you ain't doing shit. And at the one bar I drink at, my shots are like $40 a shot, lower $40 a shot, which ends up being what like $46. Ends up being what like 86 and some change for 2 shots of what I drink, basically. 86 and some change. So each of my shots has set me back like 42 or $43 and some change. Nigga, you ain't upgrading shit over here. Nigga, you would never be me over here. By the time I buy 2 shots, I've already spent more than you buying rounds on people, basically. And then on top of that, I gotta get my Modelo out this bitch. And that's an export, so that's gonna set me back another $5, $5.50 or something like that. So now I'm spending way more money than you would ever spend, basically. Now I'm already at like 90-something dollars, basically, on my shots and my beer alone. On one beer and 2 shots alone. Nigga, who's you? And it is what it is. And I've actually gotten like many people that'll tell me, well, Tico, you don't have to tip this much. Well, no, that's how I tip. Shut the fuck up and take the money. Like, I've always been a tipper. Like I said, I'm more likely to tip a male bartender or a male waitress more money than I'm willing to tip a woman. Because I know a male got to run out here and do extra shit and do way more shit to get tips, unlike with a woman. All a woman got to do is show up behind a bar and show her tits, and she's getting tips without even serving them one drink. Whereas a man, he got to rip and run around to earn every single tip he fucking gets. So I typically tip men more than women. Like, I tip women anywhere between 60% of my bill to like, typically tip women about 60% of the bill. I'll tip a man about 100% of the bill for this reasoning. 100 or 120% of the bill, basically. It's typically how I tip men. Because I know they got to do all this ripping and running, and they got to do extra shit to appease people to get a tip. Whereas a woman, all she got to do is show up and have her tits hanging out, and she's getting tips off the bat. It is what it is. And that's pretty much how that shit works. So at the end of the day, he said more like I'll buy you a sip. You're simple, yeah. But it's stuff like this. He said note to self, carry a few $100. Me telling him when I would never make you pay for that drink anyway. So it's one of those things where I would never ever make you pay for that drink anyway. I would typically buy it myself, and I will let you buy me a Modelo, basically. It's typically how that works. Or I'll let you buy me shots of like something else that we're going to do shots of, like tequila or something like that. Or vodka, basically. So it's one of those things I'm not going to make you buy. I'm not going to make you pay like $40 a shot for my fucking drink. Because I'm a gentleman. I'm at least a gentleman about that shit. And I'm not willing to actually make somebody else pay that much money for my drink. Now, however, I will make a woman pay for that. I ain't got a problem making a woman pay for that. But I'm not finna make another dude pay for my drink, basically, like that. If you're a woman, you can pay for that any fucking time you want to. If you think you're brave enough, you got the money. It is what it is. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you basically live and you grow as a human being. And when it comes to women, it's typically one of those things, because I'm starting to get off the topic again. When it comes to women, women always get themselves into precarious predicaments that they get themselves into by choosing to date these people or choosing the wrong person in the first place. It's fine that you can get any man, but you can't get any of the men that actually want to stick around with your ass. It's typically how it works. You can't get any of the men who want to stick around with you. It is what it is. So at the end of the day, what you're not finna do is tell me that you can get any man when you can't get any man that wants to be with you. You can't get any man who wants to stick around and be your forever man, basically. You got a bunch of short-term situations going on or short-term arrangements going on, and you wonder why you can't keep a man around because you think if you give up sex, he'll love you. No, that's something that you got to do to actually feel connected to a man. A man doesn't need sex to feel connected to a woman. It is what it is. A man looks for other things to feel connected to a woman. A woman looks to use sex to connect to a man. That's typically how this shit works. Because usually back in the day when you gave a man pussy, he'd be caught under your spell. Nowadays it's like, yeah, that's nice. Next pussy. He's basically like men nowadays are like fucking Bill Goldberg. Who's next? Basically, and that's typically what you need to be in this day and age. So it's one of those things where it's like you got to do what you do and make yourself a better version of yourself. You always got to be willing to improve yourself, and you got to be willing to actually not accept anything and everything that a woman's going to toss at you or make you or try to get you to capitulate to. The minute you start capitulating to women, that's when you start losing power in the dating market, and that's when your SMV value actually drops, plummets, basically. You typically don't want to capitulate to women. You don't. Because the sad part about that is the minute you start capitulating to women, that's when you start having problems. When you start having problems, more problems arise. When the more problems arise, you typically run into more problems. It's typically how this shit works. And the cold hard truth is, why would you put yourself in that predicament? Why would you put yourself in that line of fire or that line of sight, basically? So don't get yourself into relationships that don't benefit you or don't really do anything for you or benefit you in the long run. If you're a man. And if you're a woman, quit just picking any fucking thing and wondering where all the good men gone. Because the minute you keep on picking anything, the more people you have running through you or the more people you have attached to you, the less likely you are going to find a good man. Sad part about that, even the good men don't want to date you. They found you rather as a pump and dump instead of an actual dating partner. It is what it is. You're not dating material. You're not marriage material. You'll never find a man trying to be like a man. That's my afterthoughts. So the more stupid men you choose in your life, the more likely you're going to end up alone. The more friends you want to have around and not want to sacrifice for a fucking relationship, the more problems you're going to have in your relationship. And the less likely you're going to have a successful relationship is typically how this shit works. At the end of the day, the choice is yours to keep a man around or not. The minute you can't keep a man around, it's not the man's fault. It's your fucking fault, ladies. So I'm gonna need you to understand this, and that's my final thoughts on this thing. You literally got to choose wisely and be able to actually sacrifice stupidity in your life to keep a man around. If you're not willing to sacrifice that stupidity, he's not willing to deal with that stupidity or drama. Because women, the same women that will claim they're not into drama will be the same women that have drama around them in the first damn place. It's typically how that works. But this is Tico Trend. Class dismissed. Everybody have a blessed day. Be good to yourselves. Treat yourselves like milk, but spoil yourselves. Always improve upon yourself and make yourself the better version of yourself. And never give up on continuous education or learning, basically, of yourself and learning new things. Always keep an open mind. Y'all be blessed and have a good one. Adios.